Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Man Behind Ministry podcast. As always, I'm your host, Minister Ryan Smith of the Virgin Street Church. Y'all already know by now, man, we keep coming with the fire. Got another awesome guest coming your way. Local native of Dallas, Texas, but he's currently in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, serving the Church of Christ at the Genessee Avenue location. And so definitely blessed to have him come our way and just share with us insight into his life, insight into ministry, and just how kind of God is working in his life. And so we're definitely excited, man. I know you are too. Let's go ahead and jump into it, y'all. What's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. Excited, man. Excited
Definitely.
about this show. Just excited that we get to collaborate on something.
Yes, sir. Most def, man. I've been following you, behind the scenes, man. I know you kind of got some similar work going on, man. So I was just glad to, like you said, collaborate and get this thing jumping, man. You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
Nice, man. Nice. Um, Talking about ministry, man, as a minister and one who pastors a body of people, man, we know that ministry is a major part of our lives. It's not a 9 to 5. We can't really clock out of this thing, so it's kind of a permanent fixture, if you will, in our lives. With that being said, though, um, we know the man of God has outside interest, hobbies, things that you're into, man. So when you're not behind the pulpit, when you're not handling your biblical and spiritual obligations, man, what's Vince doing? What's Vince into?
Um, Really a lot of music. I really enjoy listening to records
Okay,
on vinyl. I got two turntables here at the house.
nice.
I got a mixer. My oldest son is kind of into beat making a little bit. I say kind of like he's toying with it.
Hmm.
I just love music. I love the history of music. I love to see where samples come from, to hear the original song,
Yeah.
read the original inserts. So, really, music, man. Xbox in my
Hmm.
downtime, books. I read a lot of books,
Okay.
and I would say recently, man, I actually been digging into like Audible. Really wasn't an
Okay.
Audible person, but I re rocking with Audible, and I can get through books a lot faster
I'm sure.
than when I'm reading them.
Okay. Nice, man. You mentioned you're a big music fan. Who's your favorite MCs, man?
Man, so my favorite MCs, I would say, of all time, Jay-Z is my favorite of all time. But
All right.
I would say Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie Smalls. I'm from Texas, so obviously that whole movement of Zero and Slim Thug and Paul Wall. And recently, man, I've kind of got into this guy Smino. I really like his
Yes.
music.
Didn't I send
Yeah,
you his latest album, man? I know I sent you
yeah,
something. Yes, yeah,
yeah.
that's my guy.
It's low key been on repeat the
Mm-hmm.
last week, man. So yeah, I'm really like. I mean, I had heard him. He did some stuff on Revenge of the Dreamers, the J Cole joint.
Yeah.
He's been on Saba's stuff, but it's like listen, I've never really sat down and listened to his work, and I'm like, yo, this is
Yeah.
a very talented individual,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. And it's
Fun
crazy.
fact, fun
Yeah.
fact, fun fact. His grandfather played bass guitar for Muddy Waters.
Nice.
Yeah,
You'd be amazed where cast inspiration comes from. Like, and the thing with Smino is like he's new school. He's of a different era. So it's like we wouldn't know anything about him. I'll be honest. The reason I know about him, I got a baby cousin. I'm 10 years older than. She sent it to me and was like, "Yo, I'm listening to him. I feel like you like him." Ever since she put me on him, man, I've been on Team Smino ever since, man.
he's nice, man. Hey, and you say that, and I know you sent it to me, but like I first kind of heard about him from my brother Sean, who's
Okay.
9 years younger than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Man, in our culture, uh, Blacks, African Americans, man, it's not uncommon for men and women to pledge a frat, pledge a soror. They can't see it, man, but you already you repping the Q dogs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go, there you go. Let them see it, man. Let me put you on full screen, man. Let them see you, dog. Let them see you. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So kind of talk to us, man, about your experience. Some people, man, they kind of, especially in the church, man, we know how we are. We're conservative, kind of frown on it, man. But kind of tell us, like, yo, what was your experience? What led you to pledge what you pledged, and then like how has that impacted your life personally in this ministry for you?
Yeah, man. The first thing that popped into my mind, man, one thing my therapist told me, she said that, the definition of a true leader, a true visionary is the ability to impact people no matter what room you're in.
Hmm.
And so my calling as a preacher, my ability to be pastoral is deeper than just a Sunday morning thing. So like I'm the
Okay.
chapter chaplain for my chapter for Omega South Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And what led me to it, man, honestly, so I have an older he's like an older brother to me. He passed in 2017. His father is my mom's oldest brother.
Hmm.
But he spent a lot of time with us, man, as kids, like pretty much lived with us throughout high school. Um, and he crossed in 96. And like, once I didn't get an opportunity to do it undergrad, but my, my cousin and a couple other cousins, they're in organizations and none of them really just seemed like a good fit for me.
Yeah.
Like I would run into people, I'd be like, nah, I don't really rock with,
Mm-hmm.
And really, man, the biggest thing was that our motto, friendship is essential to the soul,
Mm.
and I believe that the men of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated believe that.
Okay.
And I know we could be conservative in our approach as Christians to organizations, but one thing that I know is that many of our ancestors and pioneers were affiliated with a number of organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Man, shout out to Dr. W.F. Washington, who
Okay.
is a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. A lot
Nice.
of people don't know that.
No.
You know what I mean? But like that really solidified it for me. Like the more you are entrench yourself in it, the smaller yet larger it becomes.
I like that.
And not to mention, one of the founders of the organization, Bishop Agamus Love, he was a pastor in AME Church.
Okay.
So, I would say that it's been beneficial because I've had fraternity brothers that have come to Jesus, man, that have got
Nice.
baptized.
Wow.
I got fraternity brothers that reconciled their marriages. Fraternity
Nice.
brothers that's living right. You know what I'm saying? So it's you gotta have that balance
Yeah.
in anything, and it's just been a benefit because it's provided a support system. We've both kind of experienced some monumental loss. Obviously, you losing your mother. I lost my grandmother like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And man, it can be overwhelming when everybody's reaching out to you, bro. But
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a dark place when nobody's reaching out to you. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I would say it just gave me some brothers, man. It gave me, and I got brothers. I got 3 brothers that's younger than me. My dad just adopted my 2 little cousins. So
Okay.
I got brothers, but the idea of that friendship, man,
Mm-hmm.
was monumental for me, and that was one of the things that attracted me to the organization.
Nice.
Like they were brothers, but man, they're friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
these my friends, and I think sometimes we use that word too loosely.
Indeed.
Because honestly, you don't get to pick your brothers, but
Yeah.
you get to choose your friends. So
That's real. No, I would definitely appreciate that, man. That's good insight because they have a certain reputation, but you don't look at it like my mom. She was an AKA, which led to my cousin. You know her, Latoya Silman, grew up in Greenville with you. She's an AKA. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you just kind of see that sisterhood and you kind of see that bond, man. So I love it. That's beautiful, man. We definitely appreciate you sharing that experience with us, man. Also, when I look at you, man, and we've kind of been like tight for a while. Like I said, you're a native of Texas, grew up going to Greenville Avenue. My extended family, my mother's side, that's where they worship. So we've been like tight. My dad's side, my Uncle Dirt, he's a deacon at Greenville.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we really been tight for a while, well before college, youth conference days, all that, man. And follow your ministry, man. You've kind of been all over, man. Like I said, you started in Texas, at one probably the largest Black Church of Christ in Texas, at Greenville Avenue. Then you migrated to Arizona. A couple
Mhm.
congregations you were affiliated with there. You kind of led and pastored there. And now, man, you all the way went from Arizona, one extreme, to Columbus, Ohio, man. Kind of talk to us about like just relocating your family like that. Because I can only imagine. I'm a new father, so I couldn't imagine just like taking my family A, B, C. Kind of tell us about that, man.
Yeah, so initially, uh, we were in Phoenix for almost 10 years.
Okay.
Um, and really the reason why we ended up moving out there at the time, we only had one child. We only had Raynell,
Mm-hmm.
and we left Texas. I graduated from school. I had an okay job,
Mm-hmm.
but it really, it wasn't something I could like provide for my family with.
Right.
So my wife's mother got sick,
Okay.
and I just was like, "Oh, you want to move back? Like, we could help your mom out. Like, I'm not tripping off that. Like, it's your
Yeah.
mom. You only get one mom. If my
Yeah.
mom was sick, I mean, I love the good folks at Genessee Avenue, but if I had to take care of my mama, bro, I'm about to bounce and
Straight up.
let God handle the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, really, the big thing for me was just preparing them, man, and just you know, really being assertive in the way that I communicate.
Mm-hmm.
But I also had to put my family in a position to where I was able to provide for them the best way that I could.
Right.
And in Phoenix, I could do that, but I would have lacked being a father. I wouldn't have been around because I would have had to work too much because the cost of living was too high.
Yeah.
Here, it kind of gives you that. It's kind of like it's to me. I tell people when people ask me what Columbus is like, I tell them, it's like Austin, Texas with snow.
Okay.
Like it's a big city, but it's still got a slowness to it.
Yeah.
Kids still riding the bikes in the summertime, going up to the community pool,
Mm-hmm.
like your neighbors, you things of that nature. So it's a big city. I mean, it's 2 million people in the county,
Yeah.
but it's not overwhelmingly big like a LA or a Houston or a Dallas. I mean, and even though I grew up in the Dallas area, I'm from Garland, man. Garland is a smaller suburb.
Yep.
So there's that sense of familiarity. And so, I decided to move him. It was tough, man, because my oldest son had been, at the same school since kindergarten. Here he is going into the fourth grade, the second semester of fourth grade. Got to make new friends, moving to a new area. I would say the easy part about it was I had two children that weren't in school yet, didn't really have friendships like that.
Right.
So their transition was easier. And I honestly believe that my wife growing up out there, I kind of thought that the reception would be a little bit different when we lived out there, but it really wasn't.
So your wife's from Arizona.
Yeah, my wife grew up in Phoenix.
Okay, nice.
But we met at the National Youth Conference because she used to go to the National Youth Conference.
There you go.
And then in the summertime, she would go with the Eastside Church of Christ in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met her at the youth conference. But yeah, she grew up there, so she knew it. And I think it had grown a little old to her too. I think she wanted to leave. But I'll be honest with you, man, it's tough. You relationships change.
Yeah.
And then there's a stigma that comes along with it too. When and to be honest, I mean, if you look at it from the grand scheme of things, in my ministerial career of preaching senior ministry for 10 years, I've been in two places, but I spent 8 years in one. I spent 8 years in one place. And so it looks, like I've been around a lot. I've been in some different places, but the funny thing about it is people, you really and that's tough too. When you're not from an area, and you're a go-getter, a lot of times I feel like you have to work a little bit harder to gain the loyalty and the trust of the members.
Yeah, surely. I like that, man. You kind of talked a lot about your wife and kids. We know with ministry, there's for us, who pastor and lead people, there's always a balance that you got to have, right? Balance between that first ministry, which is your family. And let's be clear, ministers, if you're watching, members, the first ministry ain't the church. It's the man of God's family. All right.
Right.
So between first ministry, which is your family, and then balancing that with, your obligation and your love and zeal for the church. Kind of talk to us, man. How's your wife? How she impacted ministry, man? Because yes, we're the face. We're kind of the managers of the church, if you will. But man, we know our wives, the women that God has placed in our life, man, are so inspirational, impactful. Kind of talk to us about your wife and just how she's just supported and helped you in ministry.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that Antoinette has done is she lets me be me.
Nice.
There's not an image that she's like, I gotta portray. And honestly, I hope that preachers know, man, like in your pastoral role, you may set the academic tone of the church, but she sets the cultural tone, man. She's the trendsetter at the church. How she takes care of herself. She's like that, almost like an image leader culturally at the church. Antoinette has been really cool because, like I said, like we know we got to defend each other. So we made a vow, man, to not disparage each other openly in front of people, because sometimes people think that that's leeway for them to talk crazy to your spouse.
Yeah.
But she's been real helpful. So like a lot of people know this, but some don't. But my wife stays home, and she's finishing school. But it gives us a lot of flexibility with the kids. Like we're readily available for them.
Yeah.
But it also gives us a sense of it allows our home to be regulated, man, in a way that I feel like in times where both people are out of the house, it's really difficult for people to have that sense of regulation in their homes. And so, yeah, man, like really just letting me be me and allowing me to have my independence. But also, like I said, man, she's that leader. Like women seek her advice at church.
Yeah, that's good.
Women want to be her friend. You know what I mean? So that's been the help, and we make a good team. And every minister's wife is different.
Yeah.
My wife is not the minister's wife that's going to be putting together ladies' days and fashion weeks. Like that ain't her. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to build gingerbread houses with the kids like they did yesterday, my wife there, and she will have a ball. Bring them babies. Let's have a good time.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing too for her that I love so much is that she has never allowed ministry to put her in a box that she didn't want to be in.
There you go. That's good. That's good. I like that, man. And I get it because Karen, she real chill, real laid back, out the scene. She'll support the ministry or whatever, but she like, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for her, I know, we're still kind of carving out. Like you said, the wife of the man of God, builds that culture. I remember right before we told when we finally told the congregation that, we were getting married and expecting everything like that. And I remember the church was like, it's crazy you say that because I was just looking at Karen and I was like, man, we feel like she would be really good for Ryan. And then you turn around and tell us, y'all about to get married. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, man, because it's like the man of God can be dynamic and be awesome, but if that relationship is not there with his wife, because we know the majority of the demographic of the church is women.
Right.
So if that relationship ain't there, man, it definitely puts a strain on just the man of God's ability to be effective and just stay in his function, if that makes sense. So love it, man. Love it. Man, also, I just think about just you, man, and just our friendship, man. One of the things that ties us together, man, is just a lot of people would think, you're a native of Garland, local to Texas. A lot of people would assume that because of my love for the Cowboys, I'm from Dallas, and it's like, nah, it's a kind of man. How is it growing up?
So mad today, bro. That made me so mad today, bro.
Oh man, I was like, okay, we got this lead. We about to go ahead and get it done. Over here teasing the Colts, man, and we turn around and do the same thing.
We find the wackest ways to lose, man.
I'm telling you, dude.
It baffles me. Like, Like you can't do anything but laugh, bro, because it's just like, how?
Had the game in the bag, man. Game in the bag.
Run the ball, bro. When you're up, like, stop passing. Just run the ball.
Please. Please, man. So how is it, man, being that Dallas fan, man, knowing you hearing all the, oh, y'all ain't won nothing in 25 plus years, man. You know, kind of tell us about that. Being a local native, like I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, but I'm not from Dallas.
Right.
You know, so I'm sure it's like a whole another element of actually being from there.
Yeah, man, being from there, man, is different. But like I said, I mean, there's something attached to the city when the Cowboys are winning. Everybody's more friendly in the city of Dallas when we're winning. We losing, but it's like a dark cloud over the 972-214 area code. But growing up, it was bigger than just being a fan, man. Like my grandmother's a Cowboys fan, bro. My grandfather, my mom.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, after you fix your plate, you sitting in grandma's living room, man, with a tray watching the Cowboys game. You know,
Tradition.
I was pretty much raised that way. I mean, like now Jesus came first, you know. As much as you know, me and you, we both can attest to this, but we're old school with it. As we came up in the era of night service, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cowboys got a 3:00 game, bro. It's fourth quarter, man. We got to go back to church.
Yeah, over double dutching between watching the TV and getting in the car, going to church.
Right. You know, like you walking out the door, you like,
man, turn the radio on.
Right, turn the radio on.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's a family history for me, man. I grew up, man. My father hates the Cowboys.
Wow.
So you know, growing up watching games with him, you know, he would just be cracking up when we would lose. And he's a Steelers fan, so you know they've had much success, you know, consistently, you know, through the Ben Roethlisberger era and things like that. And so, you know, he always got something to say. I'm surprised he hasn't texted me yet and said, "How about them Cowboys?" But yeah, it's funny, but I think that it's funnier to me the people that hate us.
Yeah.
That's funny, bro.
Yeah.
That's because like they stash memes, they watch our games.
Seriously.
Then
they get mad. It's like, why they have so much money? Probably the majority of the money come from the haters. Like you keep watching them.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious, and I try to, you know, I've been to a number of away games, Cowboys away games, man, and it's, you know, even the people that are in the stands that hate the Cowboys, it's like you hate them so much, but you can't take your eyes off of them. And you know, Jerry Jones just kind of created this monster, man.
Yep.
That you know, you hate us, but you go watch.
Yep.
Let us have a night game, bro. A 7:20 game. Everybody, their mama watching that game. Even if they don't like us, they gonna watch it.
Some guys don't even watch football, but they watch the Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't about to. I'll be honest with you. There's some teams. I'm not watching that.
Nope.
But if my Cowboys is on, man, everybody tuned in.
Indeed. Love it, man. Talk about just the new age of church, man, and just how we function. Like I said, no two people are the same, whether that's minister, his wife, even churches, man. Like we have our foundational elements and principles that are constant, but man, churches are different. You know, they present the message and the faith of God differently. We talk about just the pandemic and what that has caused us to do. Man, let's be for real. Live streaming, technology, that kind of stuff, it's not new. We're just kind of catching up, right? And so kind of talk to us about how Genessee's kind of leveraged the opportunity to utilize technology to further the ministry.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we still got plenty of work to do, but you know, we're doing the best that we can. We've kind of it's cool when you have an elder that believes in technology.
Yes, sir.
You know, that I think that's the beauty of it, right? So, Brother Williams, man, you know, he works for the state in their IT department. He loves technology. So we got the cameras, and we our transition to doing things online was not very difficult.
Yeah.
Now working out the kinks so that it was,
Of course.
it looked good. That's a day to day process. We're still doing that.
So.
But no, the church embraced it. We had kind of started live streaming before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were kind of toying around with it anyway.
Yeah.
So the church was already accustomed to it.
Nice.
I think what some people aren't realizing is that it's not as difficult or as expensive as people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not. And if you invest in it, it's gonna come back, man. Like there's people that I went to high school with. There's people that I went to college with. There's people that like I just know from social media that will like randomly text me on a Tuesday and be like, "Bro, your sermon Sunday, man, I really needed that. I was going through some stuff, man."
Mm-hmm.
And, you know what I mean? Or families, like there's people that won't go to church. Like I talked to some of the mothers at my church, and they say, yeah, my son tunes in every week. He lives in Colorado, or he lives in Chicago, or he lives in LA.
Mm-hmm.
He tunes in every week. He watches every week. And it's humbling to know that we have that reach.
Yeah.
But it's also like today, I had a whole family came to church, and on the visitors card they asked, how did you hear about us? And they were like, YouTube.
Wow.
And they live an hour away, and they came today. Wow. And they were like, "Yeah, we really enjoyed it. We'll be back." Like, so if you're not embracing it, I just think you're gonna be left behind, because I don't see a future in which church is not this hybrid model.
Yeah, I don't think it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't see it going anywhere. If anything, I see our online community growing similar to social media platforms. In which you can build community within the infrastructure of your virtual presence. You know what I mean? So you have groups and things of that nature, and message boards and all of those other things. I think that's the next step collectively. But right now, I think the transition was a smooth one because we had an elder that was already on board. And you know how it is, man, with older brothers. You know what I'm saying? No matter if we're telling them something right, a lot of times they need somebody their age to speak that language to them.
Mm-hmm. Love it, man. Love it. I was talking to someone about it, and I said it used to be where the first encounter that a visitor or anyone would have of a congregation would be that greeter sitting in the foyer. Now their first encounter, in most cases, is social media.
Yeah.
And so it's where you tell people like, hey, you can't just press record and like go. Like you have to really be tactful in how we present this thing. Like it is a production. I know a lot of times I remember like production, like nah, it's worship, but it's like, see it as production. It's a show for God. What got us similar to you, we had a cat one time. He messaged in. He was like, "Hey, I'm watching y'all from Spain," and we were like, "What?" And, we're not a large congregation, so we're not used to having a reach like that. But then when you add social media and you put in the quality, and like you said, you make that investment, and like, yeah, I'm watching y'all from Spain, and it's like, okay. And I think that once a lot of members heard that, it's okay. Yeah, we need to really take this more seriously. So I'll be honest, my treasurer, he's not tech savvy at all. And when I first got there, of course, being our age, I was all about it well before. This is 8 years ago. I'm about just kind of improving that because we have to. It's a balance with us. We have the tough task of reaching everybody, but at the same time, think about the generation that's coming up and what we need to do to make sure that when the time comes, we're reaching them, right? So he got to a point where he was like, yo, when we really started getting some traction, he was like, hey, I know I was in the way of improving our technological presence. And he was like, but you know what? He said, God kind of put on my heart, just because I'm technologically illiterate doesn't mean the church has to be. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times ministers, church members, whoever, community member, hey, sometimes you gotta learn how to get out the way and kind of let stuff run its course.
Yeah. Yeah, and too with I think the way that we've embraced this should be the way that we embrace all change.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I think technology is it was a place where we were forced to go,
Mm-hmm.
so we had to embrace it in that way. But what I'm seeing is that that type of patience that's needed with introducing a concept like an iPad or Zoom or YouTube or
Mm-hmm.
this platform, to your 13-year-old youth who knows more about it than we do, or the 93-year-old grandmother who's like, I want to be in Bible class and I'm tired of doing it over my phone. How do I work this tablet? And I
Yeah.
think that's the approach, man. Is like no matter who it is, we just have to be mindful, and we have to walk with patience, man. So what I'm seeing now is too that it's also caused a lot of the older members to become tech savvy.
Yeah.
So when I reference a 93-year-old, we have a lady at church that's 93, and
Mm.
on Wednesday night she's on Zoom, and
Nice.
she's in the chat, and she's sending reactions
Nice.
and emojis. You know what I'm saying? Like it's dope. You know
It's
what I
like if she
mean?
can get it, okay. Everybody else, come on.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. She embraced it because she knew that she knew what was at stake, and I and I
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like there are times in life to get left behind, man. But right now is not that time
Nah.
because I feel like life is moving so fast. Time is moving so fast
Mm-hmm.
that being left behind is deeper than just taking a while to catch up. The way the world is moving now, bro, you will get stuck.
Cyber speed. No pun
Right?
intended. Okay.
You'll get stuck. You'll get
Yeah.
stuck,
Yeah.
and you'll look up 15 years from now, and you'll still be doing things the same way. You're wondering why growth isn't happening.
Right. 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 Appreciate you, man. You definitely blessed us today, man. I know all those watching live and even those who are gonna hit the replay, man, they're gonna be blessed by this, man. When you talk about just medium, I try to be very intentional about what we're doing. Preferably, someone watching, whether they are a fellow minister, a friend of yours, church member, somebody unchurched. Maybe there's someone who's not really religiously affiliated at all, but they're like, hey, I like what's going on, and so I'm checking it out. We know with being in ministry, um, there's a lot of pressure. There's a double standard. Um, Grace is not afforded to us in the way that we often extend it to other people, man. And so that relationship between minister, member, pastor, and people, it's a bit strained, right? And so for you, if you can give us insight, okay, if you had to give some advice on, hey, how can we improve that relationship, regardless of whether it's minister, member, community people, whoever in general, man, how would you kind of encourage us?
That's a great question, Ryan. That is a great question. Um, I would say to build a relationship,
Okay,
and I have really self-proclaimed myself to be a relational leader.
nice.
That you know, I'm not the preacher that's going to have an elaborate plan.
Okay,
I know I need people at the table to look through the fine print, cross the T's, dot the I's. I
yeah,
know that. But I also know that God has given me the ability to motivate folks and build a relationship with people. And I think that's where I'm not even think. I know that's where our churches need to be.
mm-hmm.
That you being a leader, you being the preacher, the pastor of the church, um, the members need to know you, man. They need to know you. You can't be this untouchable person.
Yeah,
We're not in that space anymore. I feel like the corporate idea of church has kind of been snatched.
yeah,
People, COVID, if COVID taught me one thing, it was that people are not wasting their time on fruitless relationships anymore.
mm,
No matter what it is,
yeah,
it could be your favorite restaurant, it could be a family member, it could
yeah,
be a coworker. It doesn't matter. Like leaders have to be relational. You
mm-hmm.
have to be relatable. You have to be loving. Um, you know, build that relationship. Show up to those basketball games. Stop through to that birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of times when we look at this idea of what it means to be a a leader, right? We look at it through the eyes of just doing the right thing, and it's deeper than just doing the right thing.
Yeah, Yeah.
You gotta build relationships with people. So that's where I'm at right now, man. Building these relationships, man. Really rebuilding them because a lot of people changed.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic changed a bunch of folks.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, you know, our ministry has to look different
True.
because we're coming out of a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
So anytime you're dealing with trauma, there has to be healing. And so one of the tenets of healing is safety. Another tenet of healing is just building the right relationships to move forward. That's the tough part. So um, I would say that. I would say that. And then also too, man, get to a place to where we realize that we can't do everything that the community needs by ourselves. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
by ourselves, I'm talking about just within our context of the churches of Christ. Like
Yep.
we're gonna have to reach across those ecumenical aisles
Mm-hmm.
and have some real conversations about making our communities a better place.
Indeed. Indeed. Love that, man. Man, you have definitely enriched us, man. We appreciate you so much. Like I said, got the kids in the background, man. Got the family there. Like I said, mom, it's holiday time, man. So we definitely appreciate you stealing some time away, man, to come and bless us, man. As I said earlier, I know anybody who sees this, man, they are going to greatly appreciate this, man. As we have talked about in great detail, man, this is a social world. We're in a virtual community where they're thriving now. Before you go, tell us how can we find you and the church on social media?
Yeah, so if you just search Church of Christ at Genessee Avenue, that's Genessee
Mm-hmm.
Avenue, it'll pop right up. We have a very uncommon church name, so
Yeah.
it's not like First Street Church, like
Or Southside Church of Christ.
Southside Church of Christ. Like,
East Side Church of Christ.
I know East Side. Nah, man, we just like your congregation.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard too many Virgin Streets, bro. So
Yeah.
you can find us there, man. I'm on all the social media platforms, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm busiest probably on Instagram. And it's just really easy. Vince Ford 2. That's TOO. Vince Ford 2. That's my Instagram handle. Also my website. You can find my book and all of those other things. So, I'm not hard to find. I'm just trying to spread some love and light, man. Have some fun. Humanize my position.
Mm-hmm.
And show people that we real people too.
Yeah.
So
that's why we got you on and show that humanize, man. So we definitely appreciate that, man. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So that's where you can find me. And I'm just glad you had me on, bro. The inaugural season,
Yes,
I
sir.
like being on things at the beginning, man. I know that people. I as long as I've known you, you've always been very particular with a number of things, whether that's the technology you have, the car you drive, the clothes you wear. You've always been a particular guy. So I know a lot of thought went into this, man. And so I'm just honored to be on here, bro.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Well, that concludes this episode. If this blessed you in any way and impacted you, don't be afraid to like it. Don't be afraid to share it. Bless somebody else by giving this content to them, man. That concludes this. Again, we do this every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until next week, we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.
Bless this, man.
Oh, yeah, bro. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, bro. This is dope. Okay. Yeah.